everyone. Welcome to another episode of Be Well, Be Keto. And today's guest is Amy Burkoski. Now, if you heard last week's show with Debbie Wagner, well, guess what? Amy is her twin. Isn't that crazy? And we talk about some interesting things. And my favorite is actually about genetic expression. So let's go say hi to Amy.
Welcome to the Be Well, Be Keto podcast, where we showcase ordinary people who have achieved extraordinary results. Your host is the high-energy girl, Tracy Gluheit.
Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Have you joined the Facebook group yet? I have a new Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and that is pretty much where I'm hanging out these days, and I would love to have you a part of the group. So head on over to High Energy Girls on Facebook. Hey, Amy, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you and hear your juicy details of your keto story. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. So I am a 53-year-old, newly 53 since November, year-old woman, and I am a mother of two. My son is 23. I have an 18-year-old daughter. I also have a husband who I got on keto, which I think is great because keto with a partner is so much easier. And I work full-time, and I'm in sales. Mostly I work from home, but I travel also for work. And, that's about it. Kind of an average person.
Do you know that we're like a day apart?
Yes, I heard that from the podcast with Debbie. It's so funny. You're November 10th, I think, right?
Yeah.
You're November 11th. Yeah. And that's funny.
It's so funny because she commented on my Instagram on my birthday, and she's like, oh my gosh, we're a day apart. And this is before I interviewed her. So It was pretty awesome. It was an instant connection,
I know. Something about that, right?
Yeah. Scorpio women are strong, powerful women, right?
We are.
Awesome.
Yep.
So what led you to the keto lifestyle?
Yeah. So I definitely my whole life have been somebody who tried to stay thin and, just always seemed to diet. So I've tried a lot of diets in my past. Unlike Debbie, I never had an eating disorder. I always felt bad that she had to kind of go through that. But for me, it was always, just, growing up in the 70s, 80s, right? Everybody had to be thin. So it's just all kinds of diets. So I feel like I've tried everything just to stay thin. And for me, well, Debbie, of course, discovered it first and told me about it. And seriously, it was very, very discouraged when I hit my 40s and you're trying the standard American diet, right? And you're just restricting calories, still gaining weight, always hungry. Just when Debbie mentioned, keto, and she's very passionate about it. So, and I thought, I am a twin, I can't let her get thinner than me. So I thought, I'm going to try this whole keto thing. And it just was, it's so much easier. Well, especially I had Debbie guiding me the way. So, having a coach really from Debbie with, showing me about the salt tablets so I didn't get keto flu. But for me, just following the steps, and right away, I just knew keto was going to be a lifestyle for me. It's just eating amazing, delicious foods, concentrating on what you can eat, not what you can't eat. And I mean, that gets me through it a lot. But so just seeing the great results. I'm about a year into it now. And, as a 53-year-old woman, to have, just control on my food, not always hungry, and enjoying what I'm eating. And I can make it work with my lifestyle, whether I'm going out, whether I'm, cooking at home. I really am. I'm just very passionate about keto and feel like there's just so many benefits that we could talk about. But that's kind of what got me started.
So that's your net. And for the listeners, Debbie is Amy's twin sister that was on last week's episode. So you're going to have to go and tune in to her show so you can listen to her juicy details if you haven't already. So okay, first of all, my focus really is on what other health benefits besides weight loss, and we'll come back to the weight loss, but what other health benefits have you felt?
Yeah, because there really are so many health benefits that go along with keto. For me personally, same thing as Debbie. We are twins. She mentioned on her podcast she had that essential tremor. Same thing here for me. I started kind of shaking where if I held a coffee cup up, I mean, it would spill if I held it in my right hand. It was so much worse on my right hand than my left hand. And one of the major benefits is when I stopped with the sugar, it took a few months and it happened gradually, but over time I noticed my tremor going away. And for me, that was just a huge health benefit. So that and the mental clarity, I know. It was just really, because I got very upset about the tremor. I went to the doctor for it. They let us know that for me, it was not Parkinson's or anything serious that way, but I'm like, what is this? And, caffeine makes it worse. So I cut out my caffeine, but nothing was making it go away. And when I started keto, not even thinking about the tremor, when we went on keto, it was 100% just for weight loss and just not being hungry all the time. But then to see that side benefit of also my tremor going away, that's, makes me very happy.
That is huge.
Yeah, it really is. So I don't know what that means. What's key, is it nervous system? But I think your body just on this type of a diet without all that garbage and all the, crap food. Yeah.
You know what I think it is, Amy? I think that, and I could be wrong, I'm not a medical doctor, but from my understanding is that ketones actually feed your brain. And so when I went to KetoCon, I think it was last year, I saw lots of people with different types of brain disorders, from traumatic brain injury to Parkinson's to even depression, and bipolar. So all these different brain type of issues, neurological conditions, they benefited from the keto diet.
Wow. It's so amazing because, on this keto journey, obviously you go off keto, you go on keto. When I would go off keto, and I don't go off as anymore, but in the beginning, it's a process, I think we all know it's a process. My tremor would come back. That's how crazy this is. And then when I cut out the sugar again and lower the carbs dramatically, it gets better again. So it's definitely related. So it's just crazy.
Oh my gosh, that is really interesting to notice. So when you went back on the carbs, the tremor came back. When you went back off.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be in alignment with what I just said about feeding the brain cells the ketones, because when you're not producing ketones, then the brain cells are hungry again or lacking energy source. And so That's
exactly right.
Interesting.
It will be the morning after. So if I'd had sugar or, just a night of, I guess you'd say cheating or just off keto, the next morning I'm shaking again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's such a great reminder for me, like, this is not healthy for me. My body does not respond well with the sugar.
Yeah.
So,
and there's other things too. Like my body's felt pretty darn clean. And when I eat certain things, like I went to a thing with my mother-in-law and the choices weren't great, but I basically just had a bunch of salad and a little bit of ham. And so the next thing I know, by nighttime, my right knuckle is my trigger finger, and it was totally swollen and inflamed. And I'm thinking it was like they probably dressed the salad with vegetable oil.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yep.
Like
very important what you put in your body. And, it's so related to health. And I think you're right about saying that I'm glad you focused us on the health benefit, because really the weight control is just such a small little side effect. It's another benefit, absolutely, but there's so many other reasons to go keto health-wise.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so interesting, though, is that I like to go to the weight loss because, let's face it, us girls, that is an important side effect of the ketogenic diet. But as far as the inflammation, so here's another thought that I had, is so many people live with a horrible, crappy diet day in and day out, and so their body adapts to it, and then they get used to feeling the way they feel. But when you clean it up substantially and then you bring something back in, then all of a sudden you're going to notice, oh my gosh, my finger is swelling. Like, what changed yet? What happened in the last couple meals?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
no, I know. You really notice the difference.
Yeah, for sure. So, gosh, I'm really curious about your whole neuropathy thing. That's interesting. So it's a genetic. So you know what epigenetics or genetic expression is?
No.
So what that means is we're all born with a set of genes, like our little, DNA blueprint, right?
Right.
But even they've done studies with twins. So one twin has one lifestyle and one twin has the other lifestyle, but they both have the exact same genes. Okay, so imagine if you were not keto. And so the gene you guys have is for that essential tremor, and Debbie's keto, then her keto diet is going to control whether she has the tremor or not. And you are not keto. I mean, this is figuratively, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you have that tremor. So that would be like genetic expression, which means that your lifestyle influences whether your genes come on or they are off.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so interesting. And, my mother has it too. And I think on Debbie's podcast, you definitely know my mother's not going to go keto at all, but we're trying to, that was another thing to say. This helps that too. But that's the thing. I'm like, Debbie, if I just, let's say we were separated at birth and I was living a normal, American lifestyle without keto, and then I met her, I'd be really mad. Be like, you look fantastic. You have no shake. What am I doing wrong? So I'm glad that I'm going along with it.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's so super neat that you have a twin. I mean, I enjoy that, but you're proving right now that genetic expression and lifestyle choices influence your genes. Like, that is really cool. And I hope everybody's getting that. Like, my genes suck. Like, my dad's had cancer 4 times. My mom has been on multiple medications. She now has Hashimoto's, Alzheimer's. She's had depression. But it depends on how you apply, a healthy lifestyle choices to your day.
Yeah, I know. That is a great point, that we have such control over something that, right, genetically we're supposed to go down one path, but by doing something different, and changing our lifestyle, we can impact that in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's never too late. That's another thing. I mean, we're in our 50s, our early 50s, but it's never too late to change the trajectory of your lifestyle.
I know. It's a great point. Do I wish I found this sooner? Heck yeah. If I was in my 30s and I found keto, oh, goodness. But you're right. It's never too late. And I do feel blessed that we found it now. So it's never too late. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to like the whole like burning question. So I know you guys are very thin. And so where did you start and where are you now?
Oh, good question. So it's about a year ago, and I don't know, I was always around the if you're talking weight, maybe 124, 125. And now I'm definitely close to like 118, 119. And it's not so much, and I'm not looking to lose any more weight, but it's more the body composition.
Yeah.
You get into your 50s and it's the belly and it's just certain areas that just don't look good. And on keto, everything's improved. So it's more like a shift in body composition that I've been so thrilled with. So again, not so much the weight, but I definitely did go down a pant size. I definitely went from a 4 to a 2.
Oh my gosh. Like, I would just like to be a 4. Are you petite? Are you like, how tall are you?
We're petite. I should start by saying that we've always been small. I mean, when we were born, we were each 4 pounds and we were just always kind of that skinny frame. And so when I say always trying to lose weight, it was never from a terrible spot. It was always just the last 10 pounds or.
And how tall are you guys?
5'5".
Okay, so you're not that short. Like you're 5'5" is a decent height.
We're just small boned. I feel petite definitely fits the very small, like upper body, very small, like thin shoulders, thin arms. Debbie and I both always hated our legs. We always had more of our weight from the hips down. And it was, again, not a lot, but enough to always feel like we had to lose some weight. But we're talking 5 pounds. We're not talking a lot of weight. Yeah.
And, to me, it's like everybody has their own like sweet spot set point that their body can be at. And that's why when we look in the mirror and look at ourselves, that's our only competition. Like I want really people to understand that don't compare yourself to somebody else next to you. There's a quote. It says something like, a flower doesn't look at the other flower. They just bloom.
Oh, that's so nice and very true. And you're right, because you don't want somebody I wouldn't want someone looking at my scenario thinking, oh my gosh, what the heck? And what is she complaining about? And you're right. You do look at yourself and you pick apart, but that's a really nice thing.
Yeah, it's true, right? Like we just want to be the best version of ourselves possible. I don't think I'll ever weigh 118 ever in my entire life. That means I have so much muscle on me that it's like, oh my gosh, I would never be able to weigh 118, but that's okay. I'm not trying to.
Right.
So let's talk about, I know Debbie's carnivore and she does intermittent fasting. I think she does OMAD carnivore. Let's hear about what your keto style is.
Yeah, it is a bit different from Debbie's, and I try and be a little bit more intuitive for me. So when I say keto, of course, there's 0 sugar, and I keep it very low carb, under the 20 grams. But my day will look like, in the morning, I do try and get my workout done fasted in the morning. And then I try and go as long as I can without being so hungry, like I'm not trying to push it too much. So for me, I usually start getting hungry around noon. And I figure that's good. I will break my fast similar to Debbie. I like to have my hot coffee when I break my fast with the heavy cream in it and with the monk fruit drops in it. And then I'll have my first meal maybe just a few minutes after the coffee because usually I'm hungry by then. So, and then I'll have another smaller meal for dinner. And I do try and stop eating around 7, 8 o'clock is probably the latest I like to eat. So that way my fast will be from 8 p.m. till noon or 1 the next day.
Okay. So that's a good significant. And what is besides you're breaking your fast with your coffee, what other foods do you enjoy?
Oh, wow. So typically I always have egg salad in the house. I do like having even a chicken salad made with, the Primal Kitchen mayonnaise and
I love
chicken
that
thighs.
stuff.
Oh, so do I. I actually make my egg salad with the Primal Kitchen mayonnaise because that has that little bit of a kick to it. The Chipotle one is fantastic, but any of the mayonnaise, then you're getting that clean oil, right? No swelling in your knuckles, and so. I'll break a fast with maybe a scoop of chicken salad and egg salad. Those are always in the refrigerator. Any kind of a protein. And so I make big salads too with protein in it. That's another favorite of mine where I just chop up the salad and then you just add whatever protein I have in the house, whether it's chicken or salmon, right? Or some kind of fish. And then Primal Kitchen dressing too. I'm not trying to sound like Primal Kitchen commercial, but I do love their products. Their dressings are great too.
Which one's your favorite?
I like the Greek Goddess.
Oh,
Primal
I haven't
Kitchen
tried
Greek
that
Goddess.
one.
Oh, it's so good. Really good. And then I always throw sunflower seeds, salted sunflower seeds or salted pumpkin seeds in my salad. Make it so there's some crunch and of course hard-boiled egg. Anything I have. Those salads are a great thing, and I eat a lot of.
Yeah, I love salads, but I'll tell you what. So one year, I used to have a little fun show on YouTube called Salad and Wine, and I mean, I literally, like, I live in California, so it's warmer here than most of the country, but I used to eat salads all the time. And then one year I was getting all these canker sores. Like, seriously, every month I'd get another canker sore. And it was only in the winter. And one of my friends who was studying Chinese medicine at the time said, you need warming foods in the winter. Like, stop having so many salads and eat more warming foods. And seriously, since I started doing that, they have not come back.
Are you serious? That's funny. That's crazy.
Isn't that interesting?
It makes sense, though. Yeah, that is, I don't know, that is crazy. But I am mentioning some cold foods, but like I make a great chili without beans. Just take sausage and ground beef. And Marie Emmerich has a great taco seasoning that I throw in there to season it, and then you could add cheese. I'm someone who I definitely eat cheese on my keto journey, but doesn't affect me negatively. So that's a nice warm keto meal too. Just have like a chili.
That sounds delicious. I'll take the recipe for that one. Unless you have another favorite recipe you want to share on the show notes page.
Yeah, I do actually have another one that I wanted to share because I make it all the time, and it is also very warm. Did you want me to mention that now?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. All right. So another favorite recipe is, and you're going to laugh because it is just a quiche. I know, right? It's a crustless quiche, but I will take ground sausage, ground beef, onion, right? Saute all that, drain the fat, put it aside. Then I'll take the spinach, saute spinach, and I usually use the fat from the sausage to saute the spinach.
Oh, yeah.
And then in a casserole dish, I'll crack, it takes a good dozen to a dozen and a half eggs, and I whip that together, and I'll add some heavy cream and salt and pepper. And then it's really just layering. So coconut spray the pan, and then I layer the sausage on the bottom, the sausage onion mix. Then I layer the sausage. Then I'll get like a Gruyere cheese. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
Gruyere or cheddar, any kind of cheese that's I have in the house. Layer that. And then you pour the egg mixture over, and you just have to be careful not to get too close to the top with the egg mixture because it really rises in the oven. So maybe you could have a mess. So 3/4 of the way up with the egg mixture, and you bake that, and you could throw bacon in it. People could do ham if you'd rather have ham. But so I change it up too. But my favorite is with the sausage, the onion, and the spinach. And then that's in the refrigerator. And when you want something warm, like you were talking about, you just cut a slice of that, put it in the microwave for 10, 15 seconds, and then it's hot. And that's one of my favorites. That's kind of a go-to. I make that once a week, and I have that in the refrigerator, and my husband loves that too.
That's a good idea.
Easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay,
you can make them ahead of time and freeze them too, by the way. You can cook them and freeze them. So that way, because it's so much effort, I usually make 2 at a time. And that way, when the one's done, I take the other one out of the freezer.
That's a good idea. I'm going to have to make that. Okay, I'll take both. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So when you track, do you track or I don't know if are you tracking still?
That's a good question. No, I tracked in the beginning. I'm not that girl who likes to track, and So in the beginning, my keto journey has come it's so funny how anybody listening who's just going to go on this, what your keto is in the beginning is not going to be what your keto is in the end. When you first start, you need your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So it really is a journey, isn't it? How then, it goes along. So in the beginning, I did track. I tested myself. I have one of those blood ketone meters, and I would prick my finger in the morning just to see how I was doing. But I don't do that as much anymore because now I kind of know. I could wake up and know just by how I'm feeling if I'm in ketosis or not.
Yeah. Do you get that metallic taste in your mouth?
I don't. That I don't get. It's more the mental clarity that I can really tell. And my energy level really lets me know, I'm burning on ketones. And I love it. And I never really tracked calories. And I guess some folks might want to, but you get so full from this fat satiating food. When you're full, you're full. And, I would look at the food and I could kind of round up, that was 1,200 calories, and then in the evening, maybe another 500 calories. So I know I'm not overly with the calories just by, I guess, years of knowing food and knowing what calories are, but I just never did the counting thing.
And I think it's better, especially as women, I think it's really better for us to not underdo calories because your body is so smart and it will just go, oh, she's going to starve me again. Okay, let's hold on,
I agree completely. I'm so glad you brought that up. And that's why I guess with my calories, that was some good coaching I got. I get a lot of good coaching from Debbie. And the second people think that this is like calorie restriction, that's so wrong. And you're just not going to have good results if you try and have keto and limit your calories and diet. It's just so different. You just have to let the ketones do the work and eat, plenty of fats and plenty of calories.
Yeah, I'm really into the protein because like my whole purpose with working with women is helping them age in strength, aging, stronger so that they are strong in body and in mind. But when they don't let go of the calorie counting dogma and focus on healing and hormones and all of that, then, that's the hard shift to make, because it's just so set in our minds.
I know. And you're right about the protein. And my sister Debbie always has to remind me. Just the other day, she said, what'd you break your fast with? And it was lacking protein big time. And she said, what are you doing? You're forgetting your protein. I'm like, you're right. I got the protein so important for the muscle building and especially as you age. So that's a great reminder. So you can't restrict calories and you have to not be afraid of the protein. So you're having burgers and meat. That's all part of, actually, it's part of the fun of this, right? And you're getting your protein. Yeah,
and you can eat bacon, avocado, burgers, and with Chipotle mayo without feeling guilty. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And that's why it's so doable, though. And, if you don't concentrate on what you can't have, can I have popcorn? No. But you could have bacon and cheese and there's so many recipes that you can make, so many things that like the keto cookies and all that stuff. So you can even have that as long as you're baking properly.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a big fan of sweets only because my personal self, I don't like to get started on certain things because then I just want more and more and more. So I'm really limiting with that. But check this out. This is a quote this tip that I got an email yesterday from the Mind Pump Media guys. Okay, they have a total bro podcast. It's like very bro, but they talk about stuff I don't really want to hear. But they have some really good tips. And here's one that I loved from Sal DiStefano. Okay, he says, although cardio burns the most calories per time spent versus other forms of exercise, an over-reliance on steady-state cardio may contribute to metabolic adaptations that are not favorable for people who want to burn body fat and keep it off long-term. Over time, an over-reliance on cardio signals the body to become more efficient with calories, slow down, which leads to less muscle mass and a slower metabolism. For long-term fat loss success, make resistant training your focus. It tells the body to prioritize strength and muscle, which tends to speed up the metabolism. And that goes along with that calorie restriction thing, right? Like your body is smart. And if you're burning too many calories, it's going to go, uh-oh, let's slow it down. And if you're eating too little calories, it's going to do the same thing.
Yep. No, that makes perfect sense. And that resistance training too. Talk about good for at our age, any age, but especially as you age, keeping the muscle strong is so important. So that resistance training, and how much more fun is that than beating yourself on the treadmill? And it's funny, I see these long distance runners running, and you can tell they have weight to lose, and they're knocking themselves out running like that. And I just know by looking at someone like that they're probably just doing the normal standard American diet, trying to restrict calories. They're running like crazy, and it's not really getting them anywhere.
Oh my gosh, I was so that girl, Amy. Like I seriously I was a runner and I would do half marathons and I would train in the mountains and I would run like 6 miles on Monday, 8 on Wednesday, and 10 on Friday. And I was in good shape, but I would alternate between races, and training for races and massive physical therapy and spending, lots and lots of money on healing from that training. And I'm like, this is insanity.
Yep. I know. Aren't you so glad we found this?
I know.
Such a better way to do it. Eat delicious foods. Yes, you still have to exercise, but it's more the resistance training. And when you do your cardio, it could be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It's enough because you're eating this way. So it really is a much better way to live.
Yeah, totally. And when I do cardio, like I am really into the HIIT style cardio, so you can bring your metabolism up and then lower it back down, combined with strength training at the same time. You know, like I taught a spin boot camp class today, so it's like, you know, we're on the bike doing a drill. Usually it's a quad builder, so that like they're totally like really training and working their quads, but in doing so they're getting some cardio, you know?
Yeah, it's like that's a good combination.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun class, actually.
It is. It's really fun to teach. I didn't even know I was teaching this morning, though. I was there to go take it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, the teacher's not here. Maybe I'm supposed to be teaching. I forgot that she asked me to sub. I'm like, oh crap.
Good thing you showed up.
Oh, I always show up. That's the easy thing.
That's
Fitness.
Good. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, fitness is super easy.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention real quick, because you know how I was mentioning the sweets, and you can have that too, and you were saying you try and stay away from the sugar. I do want to tell, especially your listeners who maybe are starting out, that it's funny, in the beginning you do kind of need that more for a crutch, because you're used to having something sweet after you eat. But over time that does diminish, which I never really believed it would. But I'm getting more, and maybe you've been on keto longer, but I am getting to that point now where I don't crave the sweets like I did. So that's kind of a nice thing that happens over time too.
Yeah, and I think it's probably because you've changed your palate.
Yeah.
And so many women, like, I don't know, because of like menstrual cycles and stuff, they tend to crave sweets during that, during the part of their cycle. And I feel like a lot of people need to change their palate,
Yep.
So what advice would you give somebody just starting out? Besides what you just said.
Great question. Yeah, no, I think good advice is just don't freak out. Like, I don't know if you listen to the two keto dudes, they have a saying, it's keep calm and keto on. And that is something, it sounds funny. I keep it in my mind though, and I really do live by keep calm and keto on, because my best advice would be, if you do get tempted and you do break it, instead of freaking out and giving up, you just have to keep calm and then just go right back on it. And this is one of the best things about this, is it's considered as a lifestyle. Eating keto is a lifestyle, and you'll be able to stick on it long term if you just stay calm and keep ketoing on.
Yeah, I love it. And it's true, because they want this, like, everybody's results are going to be a little bit different, but if they just trust in the process and like you said, Debbie told you to take the salt tablets. I have people do salt lemon water in the morning. And then, of course, we salt our food because it actually makes it taste better.
I know, not to be afraid of salt. Think about that. That's another thing that's such a myth. Besides stay away from the fat was a myth, and stay away from the salt. I hate when people say, I'm going low sodium and I don't have salt. I thought, oh my gosh. You're not enjoying your food, and your body needs the salt. Well, especially if you're eating keto.
Yeah, and
the
if
salt
you
is good.
Think about this. Back in the long time ago, okay, I can't even remember the years or whatever, but it was the ancient times. Salt was a trading commodity. They traded for salt because of its value.
Yeah.
And I notice a difference if I don't do my salt in the morning before, like, I go to boot camp or go work out. I can feel an energetic difference.
Yeah. Oh, the salt it makes a world of difference. When my husband was going keto, so I got him on it, which is great because now the food's in the house because our kids are out of the house. It's so nice to have a partner with this. But when he first went on, he would joke with his friends. He was running out of energy. He was working on house things and helping a friend. And he's like, I think my wife's trying to kill me. She's got me on this keto diet. And I went right up to him. I said, did you take your salt? He's like, no. I hand him 2 salt tablets. I buy off Amazon. I know Debbie mentioned making her own, but you can also buy them. He took his 2 salt tablets. I mean, we're talking moments. He had his energy right back in less than 5 minutes. I'm like, how do you feel now? He's like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm like, see? So it's funny. It's just those little tips that get you through this. So, I guess that's good advice for everybody.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Keep with it, and listen to these podcasts. I think that really got me through it. I listened to podcasts, and the 2 keto dudes, and Keto Connect, and your podcast, The High Energy. It's very helpful to hear these tips over and over again. And so I think listening to podcasts would be another good advice I would give people.
Oh, good. Yeah. That's what helps me. Like I'm such a nutrition nerd, and I used to listen to podcasts. Well, I still do, like every single day when I'm in sales too. So, always on the road, and listening to podcasts the whole time.
Yeah, and it helps to hear it and then hear these recipes like we were just talking about. And so, I'm glad you have this podcast. Your podcast is fantastic, and I've been listening to you. And it just helps. Even though I've been on this a year, I still listen to keto podcasts because you get a tip here and there, you get a recipe here and there, or you hear, what someone did right or wrong. And I think what you really do learn, and a lot of people say this, is you have to have your own keto. It's what works for me, what works for Debbie is even different. And here we are twins. And, so everybody has to kind of create what's going to work for their lifestyle. So it's your own keto, but, it's definitely worth making it a lifestyle, not just a diet.
Yeah. And I learned in nutrition school that we're all bio-individual. And so we need to do things the way that suits our body. And the best way is trial and error and see what feels good. But that would come with also learning to be intuitive, which so many people haven't really learned yet,
That's right. Oh, and that is a hard thing. But yeah, if you just listen to your body, and over time, if you just keep trying to listen to your body will tell you what you need. So yeah, that is true. Yeah.
That subconscious voice is there. That little inner voice is there for a reason.
Yep. It's true. I know. We really do have to listen to it more.
So I have, we got to do the speed round now. Okay. So I don't know. I'm sure you've heard it before. So let's see. What are you most grateful for?
What am I most grateful for? I would say my health, the love of my family, my friends.
What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure, are we talking food? Like, I would think my guilty pleasure is like peanut butter, nuts.
Oh, I freaking love peanut butter.
So do I. That would be it then. Peanut butter. I just eat it by the spoonful. Like, of course, it's the natural with the no sugar added, but that's a guilty pleasure because anytime I have peanut butter, I always have a little too much.
And make sure you get organic because peanuts are a very high pesticide crop. So
that's right. I do. I get the Wegmans organic.
Okay, good. What about a favorite book?
Favorite book? No, I had, and I'm in a book club, so I just read a ton of books. Oh, what was my favorite book? I loved The Help. That was a great book, but it's not self-help books.
But I did read that one. That was a good book.
That was a great book.
Yeah. I read that a long time ago. That was a super book. How about, do you have a favorite quote?
My favorite quote would definitely be the stay calm and keto on.
Okay. And favorite vacation spot? That's a new one.
Yeah, that is a new one. Mexico.
Where in Mexico?
Mexico. Well, we vacation on those all-inclusive resorts. I love all-inclusive resorts. So any of the now I'm going to forget the name.
What city? Like in Cancun or Cabo or?
Riviera Maya.
Oh.
Riviera Maya, and I can't remember the name of the all-inclusives that we like.
That's okay. Send me a link or think about it and send it to me. We'll post it in the show notes because I'm really interested in that. So
okay, yeah, I highly recommend. So I will definitely after this, I'll send it to you so you can put it in the notes. Absolutely.
Awesome. So are you anything like your sister? Are you on social media somewhere that people can find you?
No, Fat Fueled at 50 would be. It's all Debbie, and I would say, if you ever wanted to get me a message, Debbie and I talk about 5 times a day. So if you want to find me, you could go through
Debbie. Awesome.
Fat Fueled at 50. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a doll. So
yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to part with, my dear?
No, I want to just thank you so much. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for having me. I honestly didn't feel like I had anything that I could add to this community, but I feel good just talking about it because I am also passionate about it. So I want to thank you for having me, and I want to thank you for having your podcast and
well, thank you. I'm
spreading the word.
We did good today. We talked about the whole twin and the genetics and the tremor. So we had a lot to talk about. So I am very happy that came up.
Good. Me too then.
Okay, my dear. Thank you so much, Amy. I'll be in touch. Have a super day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Now, wasn't that interesting that Amy and Debbie both had the tremor in their hand, the essential tremor, and yet when Amy went keto, it went away. When she went off keto, it came back. And when she went back on keto, and clearly it's genetic because her mom has it too. I find that really, really interesting. So anyways, I hope that you learned a lot today on the show. And for show notes, please head on over to BeWellBeKeto.com. Go out and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.